Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth and this is Beth's Bookish Reviews, and I'm here today to do a December wrap-up. So we're going to start with the very first book that I finished, and it is The Christmas Hirelings by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. This is about a gentleman whose friend and niece are staying with him, and the niece wants some children in the house for the holidays, and so his friend okays it with him, and they decide to hire some children. And he has lost his wife and children, and now the children didn't die, but they've been sent away to school. So the niece is grown up, so she's not a little girl anymore. And so they get the house ready, and then the children come in and they're gonna have Christmas, and the youngest girl just kind of steals his heart. And yeah, so I gave it 4 stars. It was really sweet. This was on my DIY literature degree, and really good. Really, really good. I finished that on the 1st. This was on the previous semester of my DIY literature degree. It's The House of the Dead. I just read this one because I wanted to go ahead and read a Christmas book. And this is about a gentleman, and he is in prison in Siberia. I couldn't remember quite where it was. And it's cold, and they sleep on these planks, these wooden planks, and yeah, it's rough. It's really rough, but it's not without hope. And you see the gentleman at the end of the story finally realizing that people are not they're not bad, they just have made mistakes. And so it's very what it says on the back, it says, it is also a powerful novel of redemption, exploring one man's spiritual death and the miracle of his reawakening. And that's exactly what it was. I gave it 5 stars. That is The House of the Dead by Dostoevsky. And I loved that book. Loved it. Okay, then I read another Christmas book, and I finished it on the 5th, the same day I finished The House of the Dead. And it's called The Santa Suit. It's by Mary Kay Andrews. And this is about a woman who's going through a divorce, and she moves into this house. She buys this house sight unseen. And it is full of all this stuff. So it needs a lot of work. And she goes in and she's going through some stuff, and she finds a Santa suit. Well, some of the previous owners, not the last owners, but previous owners, used to decorate their house and all these lights. And the guy used to dress up as Santa Claus, and she used to dress up as Mrs. Claus. And she finds a letter in the pocket from a little girl asking for her father to be brought home from the war. And so this sends her on a chase to find out who that young girl was, and if her father ever made it home from the war. So very, very sweet. I gave it 4 stars. That was a Jenna from Books of Jenna Rick. I got that from her video. And then this is another Jenna, the series I found out about from her. I read Ellen Hildebrand's Winter Storms. I can't remember. This is the third one because I haven't read the fourth one. I gave this one 4 stars. I can't really give anything away. This is about the Quinn family. They have an inn on Nantucket, and the daughter is a teacher. One of the sons is a bartender. One of the sons is in jail for some kind of tax evasion or something. I can't remember. And the father and his wife, it's the stepmother, have split up. She was having an affair with Santa Claus. And then their son was missing in, I think, Afghanistan. So, no, that's not what happens in this book. So I just gave you what was happening in the first one. But I gave that one 4 stars. I finished that one on the 6th. So another one on my DIY literature degree, and also a reread. And I finished it on the 15th. It took me 2 days to read. Was Agnes Grey. This got 5 stars. And this is about a governess who, well, she's not a governess, but she decides she wants to help her parents. So she becomes a governess. And she has some very horrible students. And yeah. But she meets a lady, an older lady who she reads to. And then there's I don't know, do they call him a rector? Or I can't remember what he's called in here. Because he's not yet a pastor, but he's like an assistant to the pastor. Anyway. Yeah. Moving on. Then I wanted to read this book, and my hold came in from the library, and I read this, and I would say that this might be my favorite book of the year. I've already done my favorites of the year, but I've read so many good books this year but this one was really, really good. The Lost Baker of Vienna by Sharon Kurtzman. And this is about Zoe Rosenzweig, and she's just lost her grandfather, and she wants to interview this world famous chef, and who happens to know her grandfather, and he does get in touch with her and is going to tell her some things that her grandfather wanted her to know, but things don't go as planned. And then we are getting another story of, what's her name? Hannah? They don't pronounce it with the CH. Rosenzweig. And that's back in 1946. And it's her mother, and her little brother. And they come to Vienna, and She loves to bake, and she's just lost her dad, which means her mother just lost her husband. So, yeah, very, very good. And they're related. It's always related, when there's two timelines like that. So 5 stars. If I could give it 100 stars, I would, but only based on 5 stars. And then I read an Anthony Trollope. This is a reread for my DIY literature degree. This is The Warden. I gave it 5 stars this time. I think I only gave it 4 stars last time. I really enjoyed this one. I really like the Warden, the actual character, the Warden. And I find him very humbling. He's very humble. He thinks he needs to do what is right, and that's very admirable. And it makes him a very lovable character. And I hope I see him more in the future in the series. I don't know if I will or not. I haven't read the second book. I was supposed to read it, but that's one of the books I marked off on my second semester. I cut it back to a shorter semester. But, yeah. And then I read it was another 5 star, The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. Now, I mean, who wouldn't think it was a 5 star? It's amazing. This is about the Thursday Murder Club, and it's about Elizabeth's ex-husband comes to town, and he asks her for her help. He wants her to protect him, and she's the only one he trusts. So she says there's one condition: her friends have to know, because she trusts them. And then something happens to Abraham, and that's all I'm going to say. Incredible book. I love his writing. All right. Then the next one I finished was A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, which was also on my DIY literature degree. And we all know what A Christmas Carol is about. It's about Ebenezer Scrooge, and he's visited by 3 ghosts: the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. And he must change his ways, or things are going to happen that are not very good. His chain is going to be bigger and badder than Marley's. All right. 5 stars for that one. The next one I finished was An Irish Country Christmas, and I gave this 5 stars. And this is about the little village of Ballybuckle Bow. And Barry Laverty is anxiously awaiting his girlfriend to come home for Christmas, and running around trying to take care of the patients. And what's the other one's name? O'Reilly gets sick, and so Barry has to fill in and run things. And then another doctor takes over a practice, and they're worried that they may lose patients. Incredible book. It was a little bit of a chunker, but worth every page. Then I read, I didn't write one of them down. The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. And this one was a bit scary, but it was 5 stars. It's a bit scary and it was a bit sad. And this is about a woman, it was about a man who sees the woman in black. He is a solicitor, and his boss tells him to go take care of this woman who has passed away's belongings and find the will and find the papers that they need. And so while he's at her funeral, he sees the woman in black. All right. Then I read again. Oh, this one was on my DIY literature degree. Semester 2. This one is on my DIY literature degree. Semester 2. I read The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. This is my 3rd time reading this. Still a 5 star. I don't really want to read this again anytime soon. I've read it twice this year. I mean, it's good, but this is about a governess who takes this job, and she's told that she cannot contact the uncle of these kids for any reason. She must take care of everything that comes up, and if she can't, then she doesn't need to take the job. If she can't handle this, then she shouldn't take the job. So she assures him that she can handle the situation, and when she gets there, the housekeeper is extremely glad to see her, and there's some issues from the last governess. She left in a peculiar way. And this is all being told in a story from, it's like they're telling ghost stories, and then the gentleman that's telling the story was actually told this by the governess. So that took the position. So yes, 5 stars. And then my last read of the year, I just finished it tonight. Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens. And this is about a gentleman is pulled out of the water, and he is identified as John Harmon. And we meet lots of people. We meet the Veneerings. We meet Twimley. I love Twimley. And we meet Lizzie and her father. We meet Bella and her family. And then we meet all kinds of people. Mr. and Mrs. Boffin. I don't know how you say their name. I already forgot how you say their name. And Gaffer Hexam. That's Lizzie's father. And Dickens does a really good job putting this together, and this is about this gentleman that's pulled from the water, has this inheritance, and Mr. and Mrs. Buffin, I can't remember how that was pronounced on the audiobook. And because this gentleman has passed on, quote, they are granted this great amount of money. And so Bella was promised to this gentleman. There was an agreement settled between her parents and his parents, and they were going to be married. And so when he's pulled from the river, she, of course, has to do something else. So she goes, the Boffins, I don't know, anyway, take her in, and she has a fabulous character arc. She at first wants to marry a man of money, and then she realizes that maybe money isn't everything. So it's a really good read. And next to, I would put it up there with Pickwick Papers. Pickwick was funny, but this one, it teaches such moral lessons, and I really enjoyed it. So anyway, that was my last read for my DIY literature degree as well. And I will be starting my 3rd semester of my curriculum in January. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more from me, click that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a happy new year.